All right, I will start. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Justin Wenig, and I'll tell my story in a little bit, but I'm the co-founder and CEO of Coursedog. I had the chance to meet Kensley probably about 2 years ago down at Methodist University, and she's been an absolute delight to work with, someone that I think is incredibly innovative and who also really spearheaded having Methodist beyond just events being adopted at Methodist, and I'm incredibly grateful for her partnership. And so, Kensley, I'll give it to you to introduce yourself and give a little bit of background on you.
Thank you, Justin. I think that's too much, but we are pleased to have everyone joining us today. As stated, I'm Kensley. I'm the Director of Events here at Methodist. I've been here just shy of 2 years, so I have worked with Justin since really I became employed here. I've worked in event planning for roughly 25 years. It was in the local nonprofit, non-paying, volunteer realm. So my experience with digital scheduling platforms was next to none. So I have enjoyed learning about that these types of platforms are out there, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you our Coursedog experience here at Methodist. If I can, Justin, I just feel a little bit compelled to speak about Methodist.
Yes, let's do it. That sounds great.
Since I've been given a little time, I just want to put in our shameless plug. We are, like many of you all I know, a private university. We're located in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we are about 15 or 20 minutes from Fort Bragg, if you have heard of all that. I hope that you have, home of our 82nd Airborne Division. We have a beautiful 600-acre campus. We also have our own golf course down back. Justin, you know where that is. So,
beautiful, yeah.
We have a nice population of students. They are here from over 120 countries. I've recently understood that over 40% of our students are out of state, which I thought was interesting. And we typically serve over 140 organizations and clubs on campus in normal times. So we're looking forward to getting back to that. We have some wonderful undergraduate programs, just to name a couple. Our engineering, nursing, business school. Within our business school, we have professional golf management and professional tennis management schools, which we think make us pretty unique. And we also offer in the area of health sciences graduate programs for DPT, OT, and PA. So we think we're doing pretty well here. And if you've not visited our campus, we'd love to have you anytime.
I'm happy you introduced that, Kensley, because I was going to give a much less well thought out soliloquy on how much time I enjoyed. I've been down to Methodist now a couple of times, and it is a beautiful campus. So for anyone who's looking at a really innovative institution, I think it's awesome. But why don't I start? I'll give a little bit of background on myself, Coursedog, what we do, and then we'll dive right into it. But my story is that about 3.5 years ago, I was actually a computer science student at Columbia University who became frustrated while trying to enroll in the computer science classes that I wanted to take. That sort of inspired the founding story of Coursedog. And we really, when we think about Coursedog, our ethos is that we empathize with students, but we're inspired by administrators. And our mission is really to break down barriers in academic affairs. So what actually inspired the inception of Coursedog to be created? It really came down to, my co-founder and I spent a summer cold calling hundreds of folks like yourself who are in the crowd, trying to understand, okay, why is it that the students' process of getting into the courses they want to take so inefficient? And how do schools actually build, their class schedules and their events and their curriculum? How do these academic operational processes work? And what we found was really stunning. The vast majority of campuses are doing these things on Excel spreadsheets. with legacy room scheduling tools and isolation. And, we asked the simple question with, what's the cost of managing all of these curricular resources, the cost of managing your academic operations with all these disparate manual processes? And were schools using data to not only operate efficiently, but support student need in the scheduling process and with their curriculum and with their events? And the overwhelming answer was either, no, we do this all on PDF or spreadsheet, or the answer was, oh, I have some solution for this. But when you really dug down into it, it was a really legacy tool that was only focused on the workflow piece, not the actual student experience or to boost enrollment or to boost graduation rates or et cetera, et cetera. So what Coursedog is, and then I'll hand it to Kensley, is we are an academic operations platform. We are the first platform where a campus can propose a new course or degree program based off of student demand, where you can send that through a workflow and then have it be published to an online course catalog and student planning experience, and where you also can schedule your classes based on course demand and to optimize your campus financial margin and pathways to support student success, all while you can still do what many of you may already have, which is optimize your physical space, right? And optimize your events. And the purpose and part of the reason why I invited Kensley here today is I want to talk about, I want Kensley to share a little bit about Methodist's experience partnering with Coursedog, but also explain why all these processes are interconnected and why a school like Methodist, who started with Coursedog's event scheduler module, is now also adopting the rest of the Coursedog suite to create this integrated system throughout campus. So without further ado, Kensley, I'd love to hear a little bit from you about, some of the, initial goals that, I know you obviously came into the project midway through, but some of your goals that you think about when you were adopting a platform and how Coursedog has helped as a partner to achieve those goals.
Yeah, I'll be happy to speak to that. So we're going to take you through some slides. I may not touch exactly on all of this, Justin. You feel free to
good.
I mainly want to speak to, in broader terms, just why we felt the need to find, we had a system prior to Coursedog, why we felt the need to find an alternative to that system, why we are so pleased with our choice. So if I could just kind of take you back a little bit, and this is all information I've gleaned from coworkers since I wasn't able to be here prior to in the decision-making process, but I feel like I've been the primary beneficiary of this relationship. So it worked out beautifully for me at my end. But I think one big thing to note is that we were able to keep our students on campus this past year. I'm hoping that so many of you all were able to do the same. We felt that that was a really big accomplishment. And while there were not many signs of life, we knew that they were here and it was reassuring. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to host events and activities to the level that we were used to and wanted to. And I know that is exactly what everybody else has experienced. But we just are really looking ahead and looking forward to this fall, and believe we're going to have a full calendar of events and activities are already starting to show up in our system. And with the help of Coursedog, we know we're in really good hands. But I think I need to start by saying that our previous system was a little too techy, if I can say that. It was a little quirky. Folks found it difficult to navigate. It was costly. It really seemed to be that anytime we made a request or sent an email or anything, there were charges associated with that, fees associated with that. And we really needed an all-in-one kind of system as well. So it was restrictive, it was costly, and those sort of things. So we felt like it was time to go on the hunt And we landed upon Coursedog. And we landed upon Coursedog for several reasons. One, it was more budget friendly. Two, it was customizable. And these implementation goals kind of speak to that. We were able to help design and implement in a way that it best suited Methodist. We kind of got in at the ground level. We were able to help create our workflows in terms of how spaces were approved and how our resources, our tables and chairs were allocated, and we just needed that in our lives here at Methodist. We'd kind of gone away from even, I think, using the previous system, and things were just done by phone calls, and people weren't really keeping track of all that we had on campus. It was getting a little bit out of hand. So for practical reasons, we wanted something more budget friendly. We love the aspect of it being customizable. I think you saw on the previous slide that we are a Zanzibar school. That's our SIS. Had no clue what an SIS was 2 years ago, but we are a Zanzibar school, and Coursedog integrated really seamlessly with Zanzibar. So that was important, that our data could be then transferred easily into the system. And I always thought it was funny, just by virtue of the name Coursedog, that clearly it was originally intended to be an academic, curriculum platform, but that just at the time was not what we were looking for. We needed event management, and Nick and Justin pivoted beautifully, and that may have always been the plan, and I'm certain that it was, but they were able to offer us the platform for event management, and all the while knowing it was an all-in-one system that could down the road be used for our curriculum and academic, which now we are happy to say, as Justin mentioned earlier, that we will be using it for that purpose, for our curriculum and course cataloging and that sort of thing. And those are all the practical reasons. But we've gotten so much more than just cool software that does a lot of really efficient things for our campus. Coursedog we've just received exceptional customer service. I really can't speak to that enough. We typically, when we've had inquiries or issues or questions, we typically get a same day response. We may not get an answer, but we've been acknowledged. And that was something we had been missing in with our previous vendor. And the Coursedog team they're just always willing to address an issue. If they can't, and it's just not a possibility, they're going to be upfront about that. But typically, we're going to look into it. We're going to look into it. And so that's very reassuring. They're not afraid to explore other options at their end. They love the feedback. In fact, as Justin mentioned earlier, he's been to campus twice. The first time was just a few months after we launched in 2019, I believe. We sat down with some departments, and he wanted to hear, the good, the bad, the ugly. So he wanted to hear it all, because they're constantly wanting to improve the product. And you can feel that. And that really means a lot. And I just feel like that's their crowning jewel, is their customer service, while at the same time providing a good product that is efficient. It is straightforward. As I said, we were able to customize it. If you get into the system, you'll see that there are templates, but you can create sort of the tone and the tenor that you want for your campus. The questioning you can customize to give you the best information, to support your campus. Nothing's perfect, but we've really found this system to be helpful in terms of not seeing conflicts with spaces. There was a lot of overlap prior to using it, and now you go in, and if the space is reserved already, we'll just have to look for another space. So it tells you all that, it speaks to all that. it's everything is done on this platform, so it frees up selfishly the event staff so that all we have to do is execute. And at the end of the day, we've really had a true partnership. It's not just a client vendor relationship, it's a true partnership. And I think they appreciate hearing from us as much as we do from Coursedog. But the system itself, I believe, has been helpful. It's been extremely user-friendly. And those were some of the things that we needed, some of the key things we needed. So I don't know if that speaks to that slide, but
incredibly well said. And I must say that I feel incredibly lucky and gracious to have had a great early development partner with Methodist. So I think that take it for the folks who are here. I hope that our customer service is great, but also take it with the greatest all. I think the Methodist folks are also incredible. So so one of the as we worked on this events implementation, one of the things that popped up as Methodist brought in a new provost, and as they started to explore during COVID, what are the ways that we can make our academic operations more efficient and make them so that they are supporting students' graduation and retention rates and helping to even boost enrollment. They came across this problem that's common to many of our customers. That the entire process of deciding the way that our people and our space is being used on campus and our curriculum is being developed is often a nightmarish process of managing all these different silos, right? You've got, it starts with someone says, a faculty says, I want to offer this new course or program, right? It may not have any sense of what real student demand is. And then you've got to put it onto some PDF onto your website, right? Or maybe you have some legacy catalog tool that you're manually entering all this info in. So you've got your registrar wasting all this time and then all this time processing these updates. And the whole process is really centered around like, how do we even get this done and in a format that's ready for accreditation? But there's very little conversation around whether this is actually supporting students when we develop our curriculum, right? And then you've got the whole space usage process, right? You've got the scheduling where, how are we actually deciding what sections to offer and when and where, and is that supporting our students? Is that supporting our graduation and enrollment? And then you've got your room and event scheduling and even your degree audit. How does, when you create a program, how does that actually update your degree audit platform? And so what ends up happening is everyone's always underwater with just trying to get the catalog done or just trying to get the schedule done or just trying to get an event off. And there's very little time to step back and say, hey, are our business processes really working for us, right? And so what Coursedog provides and what Methodist is now implementing is this integrated platform that enables an institution with this modern all-in-one academic operations software, right? And the analogy that we give, it's the difference between these processes being like a sinking ship where you're just trying to get stuff done to being really above the water and being able to look out and say, hey, does this program really align with our students' needs? Or, are we really distributing the schedule in a way that supports our athletes or other students on campus? So the way that, for Methodist, we're rolling this out in addition to the event scheduling is it starts with the catalog. We're going to go live on the catalog and I'll show folks that in a little bit where, we're expecting, we see with a lot of our campuses, a significant boost in their brand and enrollment and just eliminating a lot of this manual data entry. And then you can do the scheduling and curriculum management after that. But I'd love to start by just showing folks what it is exactly that we're talking about. So I'm going to start on the online catalog, and then I'm going to work in reverse through where do the updates actually come from. So Coursedog has this really beautiful searchable online catalog that allows end users or students to be able to easily navigate through what are the courses or degree programs that are available to them, right? And for those of you that have, maybe a PDF right now, maybe you have some sort of online, web presence that your team's manually updating. The purpose of this is really to provide an optimized experience in a way where we're really supporting not just our current students, but also prospective students, right? And so this is fully customizable, it's configurable. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this. You can publish an online degree map, right? For those of you that are, want to create that recommended path for your students that helps them figure out what does it actually look like to get an accounting degree, or what careers might be available to me. All of this is available in our platform. And this is a really great way, just right off the bat, you can get this live in 3 months to boost enrollment, to boost your brand, help prospective students and current students with navigating their degree path. Now, where the real bread and butter of this comes into is the process of actually updating this catalog. So we just took a look at what that catalog looks like and the way it all is available and navigatable by students. But could you imagine if all of this information updated automatically without needing a developer or without needing an IT person on campus to help whatsoever? So what Coursedog provides both for the scheduling and the curriculum planning process is a workflow system where faculty can come in and they can submit new course proposals, they can submit, edit program proposals, they can come into these digital forms that have built-in compliance checks, hey, is this field required? Or, hey, maybe we're going to auto-populate information. If you're from the economics department, I know you're making an economics proposal, right? And when a user comes in and says, oh, I want to offer this new course or degree program, this can be routed through a automated workflow. So for those of you that are currently manually updating the catalog, you're probably mimicking this. A faculty sends you an email and says, let me update this course, or someone, in a committee, some full-time person is creating some agenda on a Word document to say, let's decide what should be offered. Coursedog provides a fully automated system so that when a faculty or a user comes in and says, I want to change this course, or I want to, submit a program, it can go through a workflow that automatically sends the correct approvers an email saying, hey, it's someone just submitted a new proposal. Please click this link to approve. It can automatically send them an agenda. It even can do, very advanced routing. Maybe if this is, from the economics department, we want to route this to the registrar, whereas if it's not, we want to send it to, our departmental users. And all of this is available without IT, right? You can edit these workflows, you can set up the fields in your curricular forms. All of that's available without requiring a lot of IT time and effort, et cetera, et cetera. So once a proposal is submitted, we've got this really powerful dashboard to be able to come in, and you'll see this is used across all of our products. So in the events platform, they've got a dashboard where they can see what are all the tickets for the things that are available for me to approve. Likewise, when someone submits a new course or degree program, I can come in, I can say, how long has this been in my queue for? I can sort it. I can click on this and I can even see, hey, what's this relevant to? So if someone asks to edit a course, is this a part of a degree map? Is this a part of a program's completion requirement? Is this a prerequisite to other courses? And what are the changes specifically that are being asked for as a part of this proposal, so that I can really seamlessly come in and approve or reject or, ask for more information. And within this, you've got these different tabs. I can say, maybe I want to approve or reject. And once I do that, it'll automatically route to that next step. Now, the best part of this is that the Coursedog is taking an audit log of all of these changes in the platform, right? So when I update a course or degree program, it's automatically being tracked, and there's no duplicate error-prone data entry into my online catalog. It's actually going to look at, hey, when is this supposed to go live? What's the effective date, et cetera. and it's going to sync it with your catalog so that no one has to go in and manually update it. And it's going to sync it with your SIS. So Coursedog has really powerful near real-time integrations with all major student information systems, whether you're Genzabar, Banner, Colleague, PeopleSoft, Power Campus, Campus Management. Imagine if you didn't have to do any manual duplicate data entry of your curriculum. And for some degree audit platforms, we also provide the ability to sync requisites back to the degree audit as well, so that you don't have to go in and create these complex rules within your degree audit platform as well. So this is most of the curriculum and catalog. I'd love to, hop over to the scheduling side of things and talk about how this is integrated with the curricular process in our eyes. So in addition to offering this really robust tool set for updating your curriculum and publishing it to students in a way that is mobile friendly and boosts enrollment and your brand, Coursedog also provides a number of reporting tools to figure out how are our class offerings actually meeting our student need, right? So many of you who are in the crowd, most campuses we speak to, all of their classes are offered, at prime times. They're all offered at 2 p.m. because all the faculty want to teach at one time, and they're a huge pain if you want to offer it at other times, right? You probably don't have a great sense of what are the classes that you're offering that are underutilized, the ones that maybe students are not actually filling up, and what are the ones that are overfilled where, hey, students really want to take this. We should consider offering more sections or offering, a new program maybe to support this, right? And Coursedog provides a number of tools, from an enrollment heat map to real-time registration monitoring to really advanced and powerful course demand projections, even looking at and saying, hey, we looked at the student's degree plan, we looked at your historical information, and you might want to consider offering another lecture section, or you might want to consider getting rid of this course because you're wasting money on adjuncts to do this, right? And so we provide this really robust system so that campus can make informed decisions about curriculum, right? So now you can start to see how this layers on top of it. We've got this workflow layer, we've got that online catalog, but we've also got the decision support analytics so that you're not just being, in a post-COVID world, we have to worry about what are the programs or courses that we're offering that are specialized to our expertise and support not only student success, but also campus financial health. And this helps with a lot of that decision-making analytics. Now, the last part of this is really the workflow layer of scheduling and curriculum management. So we talked about, what happens if everyone offers classes at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. or whatever it is. In Coursedog, at the actual class scheduling side, we're not just a space optimization or events optimization solution. A lot of campuses have some sort of legacy room scheduler or legacy event scheduler. And the way that we like to talk about this is bad data in, bad data out. Are you really optimizing your space? And when it comes to scheduling in a post-COVID world, is space the thing that is most important? Or is it meeting student need and distributing the schedule and really helping support your retention, graduation, and enrollment? And so what Coursedog is we are not just a space scheduling solution. We handle the entire timetabling process and the process of all of your section offering. So here's the way that a school might implement it. A school could come in and say, hey, let's make sure a maximum of 60% of my sections are going to be in prime time. And they might want to say, hey, let's make sure that when it comes to Bio 101 and Chem 101, let's make sure that these classes are offered at different times. Or maybe we want to make sure that they're offered, in a non-overlapping way, right? We want to make sure that students are able to get into these two classes where sometimes we bundle them up. And we can go in here and we can save that relationship. If I were to say, let's make sure this is the same, same time relationship, what you'll see here is that as our departments are actually building their schedules in Coursedog, very similar to how we ensure folks are filling out the right information in the curricular workflow, we're going to surface any errors to them or scheduling that we don't think is compliant with our student success and our rules. This will all get surfaced to them on the section level, right? So this person said, oh, I do want to offer this class. I want to offer, bio and Kumba 10, and it turns out that when they tried to offer these two, it's currently violating that same time relationship that we created, right? These classes are not currently being offered at the same time. And so this user would then have to come in and make an adjustment prior to submitting, right? And the idea of this is that the section scheduling process, which is traditionally just treated as, oh, here's a couple of our standard meeting patterns and go find an Excel spreadsheet and figure it out. And then I'll use my space tool. Imagine if you could create standard meeting patterns, create relationships, distribute the schedule with these rules, and then provide a tool so that your end users who are building the schedule can actually build compliant schedules without all of this hassle and back and forth, et cetera, et cetera. So similarly in scheduling, if any of you here get after the fact change requests during the scheduling process, you have a workflow system so that if someone asks for a non-standard meeting pattern, or if they ask for a change to a section last minute, or a faculty goes on leave, you can easily come in and make a decision on whether or not you're going to approve that. And then this will automatically sync with your SIS. The last piece of this is rooms and events. So I won't spend too much time on this because I want to leave lots of time for folks to ask questions. But at the end of, you created a course, you published it to students on the catalog, you scheduled your sections, there's often this process of space assignments, and on the academic side, that is, how do I use my rooms efficiently? And on the event side, that involves the whole space approval process of, let's make sure we're not conflicting with what academics is offering when they actually go and say, here's the rooms that I'm choosing. And so what Coursedog provides is this really powerful optimization algorithm. The way to think about it is I click a button and the system automatically assigns all of my courses to the best room based on the best instructor's fit, based on the features that were requested, based on the size, et cetera, et cetera. And compared to traditional optimization solutions, we can tell you that the first time you will run this, this will work. So for those of you that use an existing space optimizer or space solution, there might be two things that happen when you get to the stage where you try to optimize. The first is that you might have to be worried about conflicts with events and, let's make sure that there's not any conflicts and back and forth. And the second is that you might have lots of departments who ask for classes at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. And so you might not have enough physical space to accommodate everyone's request. Well, because we are actually making sure that when data is entered by departments, if, for example, everyone asks for a 2 p.m. time slot, we can surface that to them in advance and say, hey, you need to switch what time you're requesting because this doesn't make sense. And on the event side, we've got this powerful master calendar that allows you to integrate both your events and your academics into one platform. What this means is that when I go to optimize my space, it will actually work, right? And I can run an optimization that spits out my room schedule, saving me a lot of time and actually enabling us to be good stewards of our institutional resources and our space. And then last but not least, we have events. And the events platform, again, it has this master calendar so that everyone can sort of see what's going on across campus. You folks can start to see where, it's pretty powerful, but you can start to see where this all overlaps. On your calendar, you can start to publish a master event calendar, right? So we can say, hey, what are events that students may be interested in on that online catalog? Likewise, in this events platform, it uses the exact same workflow. Someone can come in and they can request an event. They'll go through that same form booking process. They'll say, this is when I want to offer something. Maybe I want it to repeat weekly, et cetera. And this will all go through that exact same workflow system, so that when something is submitted, it can be automatically routed to Kensley or security or whomever is responsible for the resource. In sum, if you're on campus and thinking about your academic operations today, the question that I'd ask you, your campus, the heart of your campus is your curriculum and your offerings for students, whether it's events, your classes, your curriculum, et cetera. The question I'd ask you is, are you in a position where you have the time to be looking forward, being the captain of the ship, where you're saying, does this actually support my institution's goals? Or are you underwater dealing with inefficient workflows and paper-based processes and all these things that really stop you from being in a position to support student success and enrollment and graduation rates? And the stat that I think is crazy here, just to summarize, is the majority of schools' operating costs are on their physical space, are on their people, are on their section offerings. And I'd ask the question, if you could have a 2 or a 3%, if you could cut out 2% of your underutilized sections, or expand, the amount of space you have by being more efficient by 3%, what's that worth to your campus, right? And what's that worth to your campus in a post-COVID world when our dollars are tight and budgets are constrained? And so that's why campuses like Methodist and almost 100 other campuses that work with Coursedog today, oftentimes they start by having one problem. I'm having a hard time building the schedule, or I'm having a hard time building the catalog, or I'm having a hard time scheduling events. And they quickly realize this larger picture that enables you to unlock a huge amount of institutional ROI and really be a hero for your campus. All right. That was my spiel. Thank you everyone for endearing me. And we covered a ridiculous amount of content in about 20 minutes. So I apologize if I zoomed through for everyone. We've got a big attendance in the crowd. And if anyone has questions, this would be a fantastic time to start to ask them, either in the Q&A, which I have access to, or you can raise them in the chat where other folks should be able to see the questions as well. I've got one question in the Q&A here, which was a good one, which is basically, how does Coursedog integrate with the student information system? Fantastic question. So the answer to that question is, you will not have to enter any course information in your SIS, any schedule information in your SIS, and any event information into your SIS. We are completely first getting what already exists out of your SIS. And then once the schedule, your curriculum plans, and your events are built in Coursedog, we can write that information back to all the SIS systems in near real time. So this just eliminates a lot of the duplicate, manual, error-prone data entry throughout the process. In addition to the fact that you can imagine, when you create a course, it can automatically show up in the schedule. And, when you schedule something, it can automatically show up in the catalog search. And so there's a lot of different ways that our products talk to each other to provide even further efficiencies. Okay, I've got one more question in the Q&A, and then I may start calling on people, or I'll let people go. I'm not going to be that rude. Maybe I will be that rude. It really depends on the, let me see. I have to stop my screen. Okay, great question. We've got two. Is it possible to use Coursedog to manage staffing schedules, e.g. adjunct report appointments? The answer is absolutely. So Coursedog has a built-in faculty workload tracking tool. You can track teaching load and make all of your instructor assignments within a compliant way, right within the Coursedog platform, right? And this will enable you to say, hey, here's the instructors that are available. You can even do things like gather instructors' preferences in the platform, right? So I can say to an instructor, depending on whether you want to ask instructor these types of questions, because you may have some picky instructors, but you can go to instructors and ask them questions like, hey, you can send them a form and ask, what building do you prefer for your class? What times are you unavailable, et cetera, et cetera. And this solution will help with placing those instructors and tracking the faculty load as well. Campus uses Ellucian Banner and DegreeWorks. Is this fully compatible? Ellucian Banner and DegreeWorks is our bread and butter. So, basically, when it comes to demand analytics, we look at the SEP plan, we look at the CPA table in DegreeWorks. If you haven't implemented the SEP, no worries, that's not a big concern. So we integrate for a lot of these analytics with DegreeWorks. And then you'll see right here, it's actually, this is perhaps the favorite feature of DegreeWorks schools. But as you create some of these requisites, you'll see here, I can actually upload a scribe. I can not only upload a scribe file from DegreeWorks, but what I can also do is write when I create my requisites for my programs and I say, hey, this is what my requisites look like. You can actually write some of that back to DegreeWorks, completely eliminating the tedious and error-prone process of generating manual scribe to send information back to DegreeWorks. And then, yeah, when it comes to Banner, our integration is real-time, and it supports all of the nooks and crannies of Banner, whether it's the way that you have the override in Banner, if you have cross-listed stuff or whatever it's called, and we integrate with SOSEC and all this stuff. So we're very tight compatibility with Ellucian, and we're also Ethos compatible, and we're partners with Ellucian as well. Okay. If there aren't any other questions, I think we can wind this down. I want to give a huge thank you to Kensley Edge for joining today. Kensley, it was amazing joining you, and thank you everyone for joining us on this lovely Tuesday morning. Make it a great week, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, Kensley. Thanks.
Bye.